Hi, everyone. Today's book review is about The Alewives by Elizabeth R. Andersen. Here's the book. The city of Colmar is the third largest in the French region of Alsace, close to the German border, and is often termed the capital of Alsatian wine. It is not wine, however, that first drew the ever-curious and occasional idiosyncratic attention of the writer Elizabeth R. Andersen to the area and to the town of Colmar. She explains in her author notes at the end of this excellent, quirky, and always entertaining medieval murder mystery that she had been working at the height of the pandemic on the third book in her cycle of books, a Crusade-era epic of Palestine, The Two Daggers, and the book was getting darker and darker, as was my general outlook on life. I needed something to pull me back into the light. I needed some humor. I needed the Alewives. This, as it turned out, has proved to be both an excellent cure for both general ennui and entertaining departure for both the writer and the reader, and, in the Alewives, we are introduced, perhaps not for the last time, to the extraordinary and engaging figures of Frau Grete, wife of the worthless and habitual drunk and local washout, a general laborer when he is not drunk, and often drunk when he is actually laboring. Greta is the mother of 12 children whose names she can never remember, and eking out a hand-to-mouth existence in Trench Lane in the unlovely section of Colmar called Les Tanneurs, named after the noisome and unpleasant water-based industries that occur there. When we first meet her, she is in search of both her hoe and a contraceptive potion from her old friend Frau Appelschneider. Appel is the widow of a prosperous local tanner. In fact, both he and Appel's entire family were victims of the last visitation of the great pestilence. She is a sole survivor and, like Greta, lives a precarious hand-to-mouth existence in her once handsome house, and with her entire family buried in the garden. She is good friends with Greta, and they have known each other for many years. A stout woman grown scrawny as a result of the deprivations of the great pestilence, she enjoys, if this is the correct verb, the local and Colmar-wide reputation of being a skilful maker of potions, and with all the dangerous intimations of witchcraft that implies. The third of the trio, who will become known as the Alewives, is the young, vivacious, and attractive Effie, a migrant from Cleve. She has just become a widow after her young blacksmith husband, Harold, has drowned after attempting, for reasons best known to himself, to pole vault a canal while carrying a sack of hammers. As a consequence, the resulting blockage has flooded the fields of the local Dominican abbot. Both Greta and Appin hold it their responsibility to look after the so recently widowed young girl, thus forming the triumvirate of the novel's title. Effie soon proves herself endearingly to be as lacking in brains as her late blacksmith husband. Throughout the length of this beguiling tale of local people experiencing local issues, this is in no way masks the fact that at all times the author applies the precision and incision of the forensic eye of an experienced observer to all that she sees. A trained eye for the period, location, and details, such as the industrial processes employed for certain purposes, and the beliefs and often transitory moods and emotions of the individuals. Here we have the microcosm within the macrocosm, a small city set within a much disputed area, and the relatively insignificant lives and existence of its inhabitants, set against the larger agony of Europe and beyond. Andersen spares the reader none of the clinical details of the great plague which besets the city. This is what led to the hasty and unceremoniously burying of Appel's entire family in her garden, preceded by a raving and painful death. No person in Europe was left untouched in some way. In Colmar, as in many other areas, the Jews had been held responsible, and there had been a massacre of the local population. But life goes on, and now Greta is saddened at the loss of her beloved hoe, and there is a devastated young widow in desperate need of counseling and solace. There is also the perplexing mystery of the nighttime argument between Hattie Jungerwald and the unpleasant Frau Widmar, an argument that becomes so heated that Gerard, the night watchman, has to break it up. This is something to ponder over. And the morning after this altercation, shortly before the new widow Effie comes calling, Gritty receives a momentous visit from a stranger, a young Franciscan friar, short and plump, with unusually large eyes. Thus, the life of Friar Wilkeris becomes entwined with the lives and fate of Greta, Appel, and Effie, and there is the matter of three murders and the continued theft of treasure and holy objects from the Dominican abbey to resolve. The three women, with the aid of the shy and diffident friar, join forces and embark on a new life of previously male-dominated commerce. There are moments, quite incidentally, when it struck this reviewer that this book would make a fine stage play. How on earth are they to make ends meet and earn a little bit of coin? Could they take in washing or sell vegetables? Could they earn money by singing? It is then that Greta is struck by a brilliant idea. They could brew ale and sell it at profit and also undercut the local market. This does the tale of the alewives of Thus does the tale of the alewives of Colmar truly begin. Elizabeth R. Andersen in her notes provides some useful information on the subject of the importance of brewing in the medieval period. At this time, the populace largely drank small ale or beer, low in alcoholic content but safer to drink than the water. It was drunk in large quantity for rehydration and not for intoxication. The addition of hops to achieve a bitter quality was a later innovation. Brewing was largely a cottage industry, with any excess permitted to be sold at markets and elsewhere. Stronger and more intoxicating ale was brewed for special occasions. Alsace, as an agricultural district, was blessed with a particularly fertile ground for both grain and wine grapes, with a good waterborne routes for transport and communication. As the alewives continue to brew and experiment, there is a further theft at the abbey, this time of two relics. George is enlisted for the post of selling their ale locally and proves once again that he cannot be trusted with any money. At one point, the friar invokes Greta's wrath when he injudiciously remarks he will leave her to her woman's work. Enraged beyond measure, Greta turns on him with a wrath cri de coeur that is universal and not at all confined to mid-14th century. The body count and the thefts from the abbey continue to rise, and still the three women labor at their new calling. A hot summer turns into an autumn of frost and then a bitter winter as the three women perfect their art and actually start to make money before being arrested and hauled before the authorities on a number of charges. And all the time they have been discussing the murders and the thefts. They believe they have solved the riddle and eliminated all the false trails. They seek now only the final proof, which is duly provided in a most dramatic fashion. The reader may rest assured that in time matters will resolve themselves and that life will return to a semblance of normality. Greta will even in time be reunited with her beloved hoe that she needed so much in the spring. At no time in this highly enjoyable and accomplished book, however, does Elizabeth R. Andersen allow the reader to forget the background and the context, the issues such as the seasons, for example, that were paramount to these skillfully portrayed characters. The Alewives is, on one level, a highly enjoyable medieval murder mystery, a tale of three murders and a succession of thefts, which the reader, along with the three alewives, is encouraged and required to solve. Who are the murderers and who are the thieves? There are all the customary leads and clues, false and otherwise. Elizabeth R. Andersen has, however, achieved far more than this. She has created a cast of characters, ordinary people from a distant time, and endowed them with flesh and sinew and very human emotions, weaknesses, and frailties. The Alewives is laid out with great compassion, insight, and humor, and the reader comes to care for these people. The strong and growing working relationship and friendship of the three alewives in question and round which the action evolves is moving and profound. We are left hoping that good times and further adventures are just around the corner. The Alewives by Elizabeth R. Andersen receives 4.5 stars from the Historical Fiction Company. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click in the description for more information about this book. You can also go to our website at thehistoricalfictioncompany.com and go to editorial book reviews to read more about this book. Thank you for listening and have a great day.